Long ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Well, around 40 years, and outside a military base in Champlain, Illinois, my Star Wars obsession began. From that point in my life until now, there has been a lot of Star Wars. I've gone through a lot of Star Wars in my life. Now, in case you just clicked it because you've seen Star Wars in the title, this video is solely about my thoughts, feelings, and, my life with Star Wars. If there's some discrepancies in storylines or whatever like that, I don't give a shit. Okay? This is just what I've done with Star Wars all my life. The original Star Wars A New Hope came to the theaters in 1977, and while I don't remember watching it in the theater, cinema, I don't want to offend Ian, I know I did. I was told that I was there, but shortly after became my obsession with the action figures. I would buy them weekly if I was a good kid, and which I was a fairly good kid until about middle school, about high school. I would get a new Star Wars figure every week, and every now and then for birthdays, Christmases, and some big event, I would get a ship. I remember very vividly getting the Millennium Falcon one year for Christmas, which was like the best Christmas ever. But beyond that, I collected the figures, and I still collect the figures, just not as much now. I mean, barely at all anymore. I might buy one just because it's something new, somebody that I haven't seen before in an action figure, but only if it's older. The new stuff, I have bought a few new things, but they have to be really, really kind of elaborate or special. I remember I bought, not too long ago, I bought a old Luke figure just because it's old Luke. Even though he resembled Jesus a lot, it was just old Luke. So my obsession with the toys and statues and now the Funko Pops has always been there. So that's a constant, which most of this is a constant. In the 80s, I remember collecting the comic books a lot, rereading them and rereading them and rereading them. Well, I played with my brother's Star Wars figures because, why? I didn't touch mine. That's why mine still look new. They're not in the package, but they still look new. I have one or two that are really scratched up. And as a matter of fact, and I don't know why this is, it's probably Ganon. But when I was starting this video, I thought about this. Just in my truck alone, I have, and some of it's not Star Wars related. Should have got this ready, but it was this is an impromptu thing. Sorry. I don't know why I film in my truck so much. I'm just really comfortable sitting here like this, Well, in my truck right now, just in arm's reach, I have a Riddler, a Spider-Man, Greedo, Princess Leia, and a really old, my very first Han Solo. Very, very, very old Han Solo there. Got dirt on him, scratches, But I have a better one. And those are just in my car. They're probably where I've picked up something or, bought it here or there. My Han, I don't know why he's in here. Fell out of my bag or something. But anyway, before I get you guys too bored before we begin here, my obsession from Star Wars has been from beginning to now. The films. The original trilogy, of course, is like almost everybody, my favorite part of Star Wars. When the special editions came out, I didn't originally see A New Hope in the theater. I was stationed in Korea when I was in the Army. But I did see Empire Strikes Back, and it was so crowded. I mean, we had one movie theater, cinema, and it was showing just that film, and there was like, on the weekends, there would be like, I don't even know, like 6, 7 showings. I mean, there were showings at midnight, and it was so crowded. I think, hell, it was first maybe 2 weeks before I got in there. And back then, especially where I was at, lucky enough to be stationed next to the DMZ, we didn't get films very often, so they tended to stay in the theater. And Empire Strikes Back is actually the only one I've got to see in the theater as far as the special editions go. And they don't bother me. I'm going to go ahead and say that. But a lot has changed in my thoughts of Star Wars, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But the special editions don't bother me. I will watch them. Sometimes I will watch them just because I'm too lazy to go get the original cuts. You know, they're not... I don't have any, original aspect ratio, nothing like that. I just have cuts of the originals and the special editions. And I've got the Blu-ray set of the Saga, or the first six films. But then we get to the prequels. I remember going to watch Phantom Menace opening night. I haven't had in a long time, but I've had some really bad cinema experiences. I don't put up with a lot of crap usually, and when I'm in the cinema and enjoying film, which is my passion, which people should understand, right? Even if they don't know me, I tend to be rude, maybe, or crude. They're being rude. I'm being crude. How about that? I remember very distinctly sitting next to my wife and this child. I don't know how old he was, 15, 16, 18, it don't matter, 20, whatever. As he talked to his friend across the aisle during trailers, which I even like it quiet then. I cannot stand people talking in the cinema. That drives me absolutely fucking nuts. It really has. I'm not going to go into negative theater cinema experiences. I've had a lot. Some of them are funny now. Some of them are, But this one, he was talking to his friend over the trailers, and the music starts. That famed music. The Star Wars music blast. Well, the Lucasfilm and Fox music blasts, and, this guy's still fucking talking. So, being the gentleman that I am, I let him know that, hey, I've waited a long time for this. And if he continued to talk, he would be fed his popcorn. And he wouldn't need to eat it himself. So he respected my wishes, and we went on with it. Now, I remember after the experience of Phantom Menace being mixed, I really liked what they did. I liked having more lightsabers. I liked the characters. I loved Qui-Gon. I absolutely loved Kenobi. I thought Ewan McGregor fucking nailed it. But there was parts that I just didn't understand, or not understand, but it just didn't register with me. Like, and it's nothing as simple as, oh, I fucking hated Jar Jar. Jar Jar didn't bother me. I don't care about that stuff. He's an alien in an alien universe with George Lucas behind writing this shit, and I already accept this stuff. My problem with it was, of course, the amount of digital effects that were in it, but it was the editing. The really simplistic window movie maker editing of this. That's what drove me nuts. You know, I was good with the story. I overlooked the midichlorians. I guess there was some reason that George wanted them to be mutants, like the X-Men, or whatever. But, you know, I overlooked that. Overlooked Jar Jar, overlooked whatever. It didn't matter. Then the second one came out, which is my favorite of the trilogy, only because of the Clone War. That was all my life. That was one of the things that were spoken of that I really wanted to see. And that's why I really enjoyed the cartoon as much as I did. Then the third one comes out, and I really enjoy the third one. The third act of the first one is fantastic. Once again, I've had problems with the digital aspect of these films, but I got over it. You know, I get over that stuff, and it's just like the special editions. Later on, after the initial "this ain't Star Wars" thing that most people of my age that come from this that universe, that original universe, get grumpy about. But I've looked past that, just like, and I hate to get off on tangents because this video is going to be so fucking long. But it's just like the superhero films now, the Marvel and DC films, the DC, whatever, but the Marvel films, I love the DC films, by the way. I'm a DC fanatic. But the Marvel films, at first I was a grumpoid, thinking, you know, what the fuck? They have source material. Why aren't they using that to make these films? And then I finally just thought one day, you know what? I'm not going to win. I'm not going to win. And I'm not going to not watch these. So I gave in, and I thought, you know what? As long as I'm getting new stories and whatever, I'm not going to agree with changes they make in the characters, but I'm still getting to see these characters that I grew up loving. And there are some that I haven't agreed with, and there are some that are, hey, that's really cool. But on an overall aspect of the Marvel Universe, I've been happy with it, no matter what changes they've made. And that's kind of where I am with Star Wars. The prequels, I wasn't that grumpy over them. I'm, you know, in the majority saying that I enjoy the original trilogy more, but I like the prequels. When we get to Force Awakens, when I first watched it, the first time I watched it, I was in love with it. Literally in love with it. As I sat and pondered it and thought about it, you know, I had questions and some problems with it, you know, different, you know, it's so similar to A New Hope with different things happening here and there. But, you know, I got over that part and decided, just like in the Marvel and DC movies, whatever, I'm getting new content. At this point is where I have an issue with the universe in general. Okay, I've always read the comic books. I've always read the books. Well, I always read the books. I haven't read the books in a long time, and there's no there's no rhyme or reason why I haven't bought or read the books in a very long time. It has nothing to do with changes or anything like that. It's just there's too fucking many of them to catch up on, and I don't read as much anymore as I used to. I have the same problem as most elderly people. Fall asleep when they're reading. Hell, I fall asleep watching movies. So yeah, I fall asleep reading. I've been trying to read the same fucking alien novel for 2 years. But when they took all of those stories away and announced, that, hey, none of this counts in the Star Wars universe. These are just legends or fantasies or whatever they're going to consider these things now. That was one part I don't agree with. I know maybe they can't create those into film. There's no way to get the Jedi trilogy into a film. There is no fucking way. There is no way to get films like my personal favorite, The Courtship of Princess Leia. There is no way to make that a film without Jurassic Parking it, and if you don't know what that means, I can't help you with it. You haven't read the book, but a lot of people will know the reference there, and it's like that in a lot of books. But this is Star Wars, we need this to be right. Excuse me. So when they took those away, the comic book stories, the books and those things, when they made them, made it so that they weren't canon for the series, a lot of that just kind of fell off. I mean, we still have it, and now I'm at the point where, hey, it's still there. The only one I don't acknowledge is, hell, I don't even remember the name of it now. I hate it so much. It's the one where they kill Chewbacca off. Spoiler. But kind of glad that one's not canon right now, huh? But, when that was gone, that was the biggest knock to what I think about Star Wars. The rest of it, I've given in. Whatever you want to do. Disney buys Star Wars. We get the Force Awakens. We get all this cool stuff. Now we're going to get Star Wars shoved down our throat. And I'm of the minority of my peers that I know in person that actually like it, Now, when The Last Jedi came out, I wasn't happy. At first, I thought, man, it wasn't bad. It's okay. And then, within a day, he was like, are you kidding me? Come on now. Luke threw a lightsaber over his shoulder. What the fuck? What am I watching here? But when the Blu-ray came out, I had given it a second chance. Like I do a lot of films that I think, I wasn't fair with that. Thor Ragnarok being another one that I did change my mind on. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Last Jedi. I will say that it is my least favorite. I'm not, a lot of people say that. I mean, a lot of people say it's the greatest film of the whole saga. It is my least favorite, but there are parts of it that I absolutely love. I love Kylo Ren. I think he is a very interesting villain. And I use the word villain lightly. He's whatever. We'll talk about that in a later date when the next film comes out. But Adam Driver, I love this guy. He's a fantastic actor. He is very good in this film and Force Awakens. I love that spoiled brat, pissed off, whiny, villain part of him. It's so much Anakin, with so much more added to it. Rey, I almost forgot her name, Daisy Ridley. Rey is an interesting character. I I'm glad we didn't explore the past with her as much as people want. I'm glad which could still flip-flop change and everything else, but as of right now, I'm glad she's not a Kenobi. I'm glad she's not a Skywalker. I like the thought of having, this random person. It's kind of like Anakin. It's just a random find. I like John Boyega. I think he is talented. I just watched a movie called Imperial Dreams. I don't remember. I just watched it, and he's very, very good in it. Very Denzelish. A lot of his mannerisms, walks, the way he talks, are a lot like a young Denzel. And I really like him as an actor, but I do not like Finn. I like Finn, or I was okay with Finn in the first film. The second film, I would have been okay with him had he been relevant. He had a storyline that was forced on me. It was just there to make him have a part in this film. And then the whole Rose thing and him just... we're over 2 hours in this film. Do we really need to have anything except for him on board the starship with Leia? Him doing whatever. And there's a lot of stuff I didn't like about it. That part, Benicio del Toro should have been Lando. I want fucking Lando. I want to know where he is, what happened to him, and I want to know now. Lando's one of my favorite characters. He is a small character in the universe, I guess, but he's... I've wanted to know more about him for a long time, and that's where we are with the new Solo movie. So, Last Jedi's gone. It's on Blu-ray. I've watched it. I started liking it. And now we have a teaser and a full trailer for Solo, A Star Wars Story. Oh, Rogue One. I don't want to skip Rogue One. Fantastic. That's all I can say about it. Fantastic. It takes the place in my Star Wars lineup as, at least fourth in this lineup. It is such a well done film, story wise, character wise. The tragedy of it, that we know how it's going to, this is a tragedy. We know from the very beginning how this is going to end. We know this story. Let me see how it happened. So, Rogue One, fantastic film. Solo. I'm not sold. I know I'll watch it and I'll embrace it as Star Wars, but first off, I am stoked to see more Lando, to know the Lando, like I've never known him before. Early Lando, I get some backstory on Lando, whatever. As long as it's, whatever, it's Lando. I am really stoked to see more on-screen Chewbacca other than a movie prop, because normally all Chewbacca has done is flail his arms, shoot some things, and follow everybody, which is kind of his job. He's a bodyguard to Han, I guess, or whatever you want to go with. I guess we'll see that in the Solo film, how it happens. Us true Star Wars fans, or not true Star Wars fans, us old school Star Wars fans know the stories from the books that don't count anymore. But we'll see how it pans out in the Solo story, what Chewbacca's story is. But the one scene in the trailer that is a jump out of the chair, yeah, scene is Chewbacca slamming that dude. That is, I'm like, wow, I hope we see some more of that shit. You know, that and the Lando at the casino table or the poker table or, you know, whatever it's going to be table. That's quite interesting. So I'm not quite sold on Han himself. I don't know the guy. Don't know his work or who he is or anything about him. Excuse me. All I do know is the scene where Han says, Chewie says something and Han's like, well, what do you know? If you close your eyes, Owen Wilson's there. And I don't know if I can not hear him now. Other scenes, not so much, but that one it was just a little thing in my head. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. I was more excited before the full-blown trailer. No doubt it's going to be action. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be spectacular. It's going to be, you know, a lot of fun. Is it going to live up to my expectations of 3 of my favorite characters in the Star Wars universe? Chewbacca is he's close to the very top of my favorite characters, even though I want to know more about him. And so's Lando. And Han is right there too. You know, I put Han above Luke for me. You know, nothing to do with the Force and lightsabers and stuff like that. Han is way up there. Young Obi-Wan is way up there. But Chewbacca and Lando are 2 that I've waited a long time to know more about. And I absolutely love Chewbacca. He may be even my favorite part of Star Wars. You know, my favorite thought of Star Wars. The cartoons throughout the years, I've embraced and loved. I still watch, you know, whatever they give me. The holiday special, I do have a copy of it, but that's all I'm going to say. Interesting. Let's see. So here I am today, 2018. I have a 12-year-old son that I'm passing on Star Wars. I've already passed on what Star Wars I have to my daughter. She is 24. My wife's an okay Star Wars fan. She's just like, yeah, I like Star Wars. My daughter, yeah, if she likes it, she likes it. I don't know where her current thought is in the Star Wars. It is a family thing. She does go to the Star Wars film with us in the cinema. My son loves Star Wars. My son, this is a story, and I don't know if I've ever told this, but this is how hardcore my son is. We're at a Force Awakens. Opening night. We're in the theater. Cinema. And we are watching Star Wars. I'm not sure exactly what point in the film we are at. But my son had just had a party at school. Christmas party, maybe? It was most likely a Christmas party. But it comes to find out that he ate way too many cupcakes and whatever else they had at this party, and he throws up all over the place, all over the floor. I'm not a fan of vomit at all. The sound it makes when it hits the floor, the smell that it comes out of it, and whatever else. I'm not a fan. So, but I'm overlooking this because I'm worried about my son. Even Star Wars went on the back burner at this point. I said, come on, bud, we can go. We'll come back another time. And he's like, I don't want to leave. So, I dump his bucket of popcorn on the throw up and let it soak. And we watched fucking Star Wars. He was a trooper. And we got to finish Force Awakens. So that's what Star Wars means to us in our life. That and how sad my thumbnail is. Because yes, I own a lightsaber. And yes, I own a Tusken Raider mask. But I'm going to leave you with that. That's my feelings, thoughts, and how I've lived through Star Wars for the last 43 years of my life. Well, 40. How about that? We're putting Star Wars years, not mine. And that's it. So I hope you guys lasted to this. You can watch it in 4 or 5 different parts. You don't even have to watch it because it's boring as shit, I'm sure. But thank you very much if you did. And may the Force be with you.